tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Good evening everyone. So today we are going to continue with our lecture series about fulfilling the paramis. So since till now we have discussed various aspects of fulfilling parami. So today I am going to talk about the first parami, that is to say the dana parami. First of all, we should know what is the meaning of dana. Dana is the act of giving something which belongs to you for the betterment or as a support to someone else. So giving something which belongs to you to someone else is the act of dana. In order to be a complete dana, normally it has to be given with the understanding about karma and vipaka. That type of dana is called sampajana kata dana. Sampajana kata dana. Then in Abhidhamma, in normal Dhamma context, the giving itself is the dana, the act of giving. But we analyze in terms of Abhidhamma, dana refers to the chetana, volition that arises while we perform this act of giving. Therefore, normally it is the physical act of giving something to someone, intentional physical act of giving something to someone. But in terms of Abhidhamma, it is the chetana which does the activity, this activity of giving something. So therefore, in terms of Abhidhamma, the chetana that is involved in giving is called dana. In normal context, dana is the activity of giving up something to someone. So first we need to see the difference of these two meanings. Then there's another analysis of dana, the intention. With what type of intention we are giving the dana. Sometimes we give dana as a support or a help to the person who is receiving. In some occasions we give dana as a gesture of respect, mainly to accumulate more merit by us. So these two dana are called anuggaha vasena, puja vasena. Dana that is given as a support to someone, or the dana that is given as a respect, puja vasena. In the second type of dana, we expect to accumulate great merit by offering someone who is higher in virtue than us, like the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, or the parents, or the venerable monks and so forth. In the first type of dana, mostly we give the charity to someone who is inferior than us, like the animals, or someone who is not practicing well, or someone who is equal to us in terms of virtue. So if we give someone who is equal or lower than us with the help of supporting them, that is called anuggaha vasena. If we are giving to someone who is more virtuous than us, this is called puja vasena. So this is the intention of the two danas. Then another way of analyzing is the word dana sometimes refers to the act of giving, sometimes it refers to the chetana of giving, that is the Abhidhamma analysis. That is what matters in terms of being a kusala. And then sometimes the word dana can refer to the thing that is being offered. For example, if I am offering money to someone, money is called dana. If you are offering food to the monks, the food itself can also be called dana. So when we encounter the word dana, sometimes it refers to the activity of giving. In terms of Abhidhamma, it refers to the chetana of dana. In some occasions, dana can also refer to the thing that is being given. So this is also something that we should know regarding dana. Then we move on to the something that I mentioned in the beginning. In order to be a complete dana, one has to give with the understanding about karma and its effects. No, it means he should know that this dana is going to give a good result in future because of my activity of giving. This type of dana is called sampajana kata dana. The dana that is done with sampajana understanding. But when you go into the commentaries, how does this meaning, how is this defined, sampajana kata? Sampajana kata is defined as danancha dana palancha or kammancha kamma palancha saddahitva, believing that this activity would give a result in future. So sampajana kata dana means the dana which is given with faith, with saddha. If someone has a faith that this dana is going to give a result in future, that dana is called sampajana kata. Actually, what is prominent there is the saddha, but it is been referred as a dana done with wisdom, jnana sampayutta dana. So first we should know, giving dana with the understanding means giving dana believing on karma and vipaka. Right. So then we should know, we should understand why these are two terms doesn't seem to be match. It is mentioned in the books, such a dana is sampajana kata. At the same time, the commentators explain this as kammancha kamma palancha saddahitva, with the belief. So normally we know faith and wisdom, they have two different functions. It's true that they go together, but normally we say the one who has faith character, one who has wisdom character, seems they have some different characteristics. So why is it mentioned in the commentaries that a dana which is given with wisdom, understanding, is the dana that is giving belief in karma and karma vipaka? First we should understand how to connect these two. So what is the characteristic of saddha? Saddha has few characteristics. The basic characteristic of saddha is to purify the mind. It's similar, the simile is given to a special gem. The universal monarch Chakravarti Raja possesses. This gem is called Udaka Pasada Mani. Udaka Pasada Mani. The gem which purifies the water. It is mentioned when the Chakravarti Raja is going to a certain destination with his army. Sometimes the army crosses a small river, a water stream. So the entire stream gets muddy. A huge army crosses a water stream, nothing to say that it would get muddy. Then if the king says that I want to drink some water, what a minister does is he brings this Udaka Pasada Mani, the gem, and put it into the water. As soon as it is put, the entire mud goes down and the water becomes very clear. And they take some water and offer the king. So likewise, when the saddha arises in our mind, the anusaya kilesas will subdue to some extent and the mind becomes purified. So when the environment or the atmosphere, or better to say the mind itself becomes purified with this gem-like saddha, it facilitates the arising of other good qualities such as compassion, loving kindness, generosity, and all these. So the main function of saddha is to purify the mind. So due to this basic function of saddha, a secondary function happens, a secondary of effect, I would say, a secondary thought of a function. What is that? When the water is pure, take this analogy, when the water is pure and clean, what would happen? The shadow of the objects close by would appear on this surface. Even you can look your face on a pure clean water, surface of clean water. More the water is clear, more clear the shadows are. So likewise, the water, clear water has a sort of a quality to accept or let the shadows fall on it. It's a very important statement. The water, the clean water allows the shadows to fall on it, to appear on it. So likewise, when the mind is pure by this saddha, this purity itself allows certain objects to come into our mind. It means it accepts the certain objects. What type of objects? It accepts objects such as the karma and its result. It accepts the existence of karma vipaka. It accepts the possibility of someone becoming a Buddha. It accepts that there can be a deep reality like Nibbana. It accepts that the cause and effects could happen. So these kind of true phenomena and reality are accepted by the mind, pure mind, like the pure water accepts the shadows to fall upon it. And what is the function of panya? Panya's function is to see the reality. When panya is present, the entire chittupada, the mind and chitta and chetasikas, increase the capacity of chitta chetasikas, increase to see the things as they are. With wisdom, we see the things as they are. Especially, you need wisdom to see the deep reality. Without wisdom, mind is not capable of seeing this reality. Now see the relationship. Saddha as a secondary aspect, not as the main function, as a secondary function, accepts deep reality with the mind. The mind is ready to be with it. It accepts it. It doesn't reject it. At the same time, wisdom helps to see it. So the mind, the saddha accepts the reality, deep phenomena, dhammata and dhamma, only when it is associating wisdom. Because with the wisdom, the entire mind gets the capacity to see the things as they are. Even though some minds doesn't see the reality very deep, but when at least some type of wisdom is there, that saddha, associating saddha, sampayutta saddha, is capable of accepting deep reality and deep phenomena. If wisdom is missing, saddha purifies the mind, that's true, that's the basic nature, but it cannot accept the deep reality. Therefore, if someone is believing of karma and vipaka, if someone is believing of the Buddha's true attributes, it can only be done with a mind associated with wisdom. Or otherwise, it is done by the saddha supported by wisdom. Therefore, when it is mentioned in the books, sampajana kata karma, the karma done with wisdom, the commentators explain, it is the karma done with belief. So what does it mean? Believing true deep phenomena and true deep reality can only happen with a mind associating wisdom. If there's no such a wisdom, that mind may have saddha but would not understand or accept the deep reality. That is why even according to Abhidhamma, Theravada Abhidhamma, even a person who is not believing in karma and karma vipaka, when do wholesome activity, saddha is present in his mind. That saddha is not accepting deep reality. That saddha just purifies the mind so he can do some wholesome activity. So I'll repeat what I said. I know it's something very quite deep. What is meant, for example, what did I want to say is, normally when it is said we are doing some wholesome activity like dana, sila or whatever, if you are doing such an activity with understanding, jnana sampayutta chitta, for example, we term this, there's a word for this, is sampajana kata kamma. Kamma done with understanding. So how is this understanding explained in the commentaries? It is explained as believing in kamma and vipaka. So this seems like understanding and believing. Normally we say in general statements, understanding is greater than believing. So why is that? The commentators have equalized. Giving with understanding is equal to giving with belief. For that we need to understand saddha has the secondary characteristic of believing deep phenomena like kamma vipaka. Kamma vipaka is not a normal phenomena, it's a very deep one. Believing in Buddha, it's possible to have such and such characteristics. Believing in Dhamma, believing in Sangha, these are not shallow phenomena, these are deep phenomena, deep reality. So saddha has this capacity of accepting, believing deep phenomena only when it is associated with at least some level of panya. That panya may see the reality deeply or may not. It can be very basic panya of a normal Buddhist, for example. So if only when saddha is associating panya, it can accept such reality. But there can be a saddha without panya. What is this saddha? That saddha is not believing on God. That saddha is not believing on something wrong. Saddha is always wholesome according to Theravada. Then what is this basic saddha explained in Theravada teachings? According to Theravada Abhidhamma, basic saddha is found in every chitta, every kusala chitta. Even a person, a non-Buddhist, even a person who doesn't believe in karma, there's a kusala. He has this basic saddha. The function of this basic saddha is to purify the mind so he can do good things. Generosity, loving kindness. Even a non-Buddhist can have these qualities, right? It's obvious. So the basic saddha put down the kilesa and gives the opportunity for such good qualities to arise. When saddha is mixed with panya, it becomes more pure, it becomes more clear and more pure, so the mind can accept the deep phenomena. Therefore, since wisdom is there and belief is there, sometimes we say doing kamma with understanding is doing kamma with belief. That's how they are connected. So that's what I wanted to say. So then someone can have another question. Why is it now, before I'm coming into the analysis of dana, it's very important to clarify this, because whatever parami we are performing, it's necessary that we do it with sampajana kata, that we do it with understanding. According to Theravada, understanding is defined as believing in this sense. That's the strange thing. So then someone can ask the question, but this is different in vipassana, right? Vipassana, understanding and belief, no, this is different. In vipassana, you see the reality as it is. This is talking about doing merits like dana, sila and so forth. In vipassana, the understanding has to be very direct, right? It's the wisdom is coming forth. It's not about saddha. Then why is it mentioned that saddha is required, saddha with wisdom is required for understanding deep phenomena, and false phenomena for us, like, I'm not insulting any religion, false phenomena like the God has created or the false phenomena that something, there's no karma and vipaka or something like that, according to Buddhism. So why do we say Saddha cannot believe in such phenomena, but Saddha is required only for deep phenomena? So someone objectively looking into Buddhism would ask the question, belief is belief. So you believe in Buddha, we believe in God. You believe in karma vipaka, we believe in materialism, for example. We believe in no rebirth. So what is the difference? So we have to keep in mind when we are explaining faith in Buddhism, doubt in Buddhism, delusion, wisdom and wrong view. These 5 cetasikas. Delusion, wrong view, doubt, belief and wisdom. The object range. What are the objects of these 5 realities? Doubt, delusion is we don't know the true natures, true phenomena. Doubt is vichikicca is we doubt the true phenomena, whether there is karma or vipaka. In moha, it doesn't understand the karma vipaka. Vichikicca, doubt. Wrong view, belief, there is no karma vipaka. And Saddha believes in karma vipaka. Panya understands karma vipaka. For example, I'm taking just one example of karma and vipaka. So someone can ask the question, why is it not believing karma vipaka is akusala and believing karma vipaka is saddha kusala? Why is that? So in order to explain these 5 cetasika, we have to establish the fundamental that those phenomena are true. There is a true phenomena of karma vipaka. There is a true phenomena of Buddhas having good qualities. There is a true reality called Nirvana. So they are true. So if someone believes in this reality, it's a wholesome mind. You cannot objectively judge. Just believing in someone and just believing in this, they are same. No. The real reason is the object of some beliefs is false. Objects of some belief is correct. If the object of some belief, of a certain belief is correct, that belief is wholesome. If the object of certain belief is wrong, that belief is unwholesome. So this is a very clear distinction that we have to understand in Buddhism. Just give you one simile. Think there is a curtain, a cloth is covering a certain wall. We think there is nothing behind and we hit the curtain. But actually there is a wall. What would happen? Whether we like or not, whether we don't believe, our hand is going to hit the wall. Our perception didn't matter because there was a wall, even though we thought there was no wall. In the same way, if someone doesn't believe in karma vipaka and thinks there is no karma vipaka, if there is a karma vipaka phenomena, dhammata in the world, you are thinking wrong. Someone believes in karma vipaka. Maybe he doesn't have a deep understanding. He believes in karma vipaka. Since there is actual karma vipaka, dhammata in the world, his mind is connected with that true phenomena. So that becomes kusala. So that's why we normally say, in order to understand deep reality, deep phenomena, there should be wholesome mind. Believing in true phenomena is saddha. Believing in wrong phenomena is wrong view, ditti. That also we should understand. Okay, I think you do well. So the takeaway message is, if the paramita is to be done with understanding, do it with belief of karma and vipaka. Then you might ask, why did Bhante explain so much things when you could have said this very easily? Because thing is, if I had said doing parami is just believing, doing things with belief, obviously one who had a question, who thinks deeply would ask a question, what do you mean by doing Jnana Sampayutta Parami. And what is the relationship of belief? Belief is just belief. Jnana Sampayutta is wisdom. How they are related. So that's just first I want to show this relationship. This belief is not just mere belief. This belief is about deep phenomena. In order to believe deep phenomena, the mind has to be with wisdom. That's why the commentators equalize these two. Doing Sampajana Kata Kamma means doing Kamma with belief. So now we move on to discuss about the Dana. So in order to be a Parami, we have to give the Dana with this belief or with this understanding. I may use the two words interchangeably. Understanding or belief. Right? Understanding or belief. In order to be a Parami, you have the mind, the Dana has to be with belief or understanding. And there's another component. That is, Dana has to be done with the intention of attaining Nibbana. With the intention of attaining Buddhahood or Sapacheka Buddhahood or Savakahood or any title that one wishes. Or at least to become a Sotapanna or someone. In the end you will become Arahant. If you become a Sotapanna, you cannot stop that. So therefore, in order to be a Parami, Dana has to be done with understanding or with belief, as I mentioned. And with the intention, may this Dana be a helpful factor for my attainment. Right. So then, this is the basic component of Dana. Now we move on. What is now another aspect of Dana? When you are fulfilling Dana Parami to attain liberation, we also understand by Dana we go against few kilesa. We go against few kilesa. First is the Lobha. Lobha is, we are not going against the Raga. You have to keep in mind here. Dana and Raga are not fully opposite to each other. In terms of being a Kusala and Akusala, yes, they are opposite to each other, that's clear. Because every Kusala is opposite to Akusala, every Akusala is opposite to Kusala. But not in terms of Ujupatipakka. Ujupatipakka means straightly opposite. Ujupatipakka opposite, for example, Metta is opposite of Dosa. We don't say Metta is opposite of Raga, right? Metta is close to Raga. But in terms of being a Kusala and Akusala, yes, Metta is opposite of Raga being a Kusala. Since Raga is Akusala. But Metta is fully opposite of Dosa. What is opposite of Raga is Asubha meditation. Asubha Sanya is opposite of Raga. So, Dana is opposite of Lobha. This Lobha is not the lust. This it's to some extent it is opposite, that's true. But this is mainly opposite of keeping things to yourself. Mine, my stuff. And also keeping the things for yourself. To make yourself happy. To progress, to become rich, to have possessed many things. This tanha is affected by Dana. And another thing is Sakkaya Ditthi. Why do I say so? One of the attributes of a Sotapanna is Mutta Chagi, Payatapani, is always ready to give and give. Sotapannas, if a monk asks from a Sotapanna a help, according to the literature, it is mentioned that in most of the cases they were giving and giving, not even supporting the family, and even Buddha had to lay rules. There are certain rules you may not know, that if a poor Sotapanna family is giving and continuously giving and giving, we have to make a proclamation in Sangha not to accept food from that house. There is such a rule. If you accept, there is an offense. You cannot go for Pindapata to that house. They can bring food to the monastery, that's a different case, but you cannot go Pindapata to some house. Sikka Sammuti Kula, we call. Taking food from such a designated family is an offense. Party Desaniya offense. So what does it mean? Sotapannas have a natural tendency to give and give. Why? They don't have Sakkaya Ditthi. Now think deeply. Why do we want to keep things for ourselves? Because of I. Because of myself. So when I say I, myself, I'm referring to the same self view. We should not analyze in Asmimana and all this. Putujanas want to make the self happier, richer, to possess certain things. So dana is against this liking to possess, at the same time to satisfy the self. So it's also opposite to Sakkaya Ditthi to some extent. Not fully, to some extent. Therefore, we have to keep in mind, more we give dana, more we are hitting or less, we call attacking the attachment and also the Sakkaya Ditthi. That is why we normally say a Sotapanna doesn't have stinginess. But it doesn't mean that a Sotapanna would give everything that he has. It doesn't mean like that. Even Uppalavanna once didn't want to give the robe she had to Venerable Uday. Because she knew that it is not easy for us to find another robe as a nun. So therefore, but seeing the real disadvantages, they may not give sometimes. But they don't have that stinginess to hold to things. Why is that? Because as if someone knows there is no self here, whom to satisfy, whom to protect and all this. They do have lobha, they do have raga, asmimana is still there, but the strong possession is not there. So therefore, one of the greatest obstacles of dana is Sakkaya Ditthi and the lobha of possessing, mind. Therefore, it's very vital that we develop the quality of dana, because when you attain Nibbana, we have to remove these defilements. So dana is such a practice. The next point is, this dana parami is not easy to practice. Why is that? Because of these defilements. Sakkaya Ditthi and the attachment to possess. There is a nice story. One of the kings in past, he promised to give something to someone and he gave it some valuable thing. Later on, he could not make up his mind. He could not be happy about his dana. He started to regret and he became sick because of his donation. Then the ministers made a certain contest, a festival, sort of a circus or something, a certain event in order to make the king happy. In the event, some contesters, they swallowed a sword. I think you have seen sometimes people do that, right? Some strange things. Very dangerous, but someone swallowed a sword in the context. And the king was surprised and king asked from one minister, is there anything more difficult in the world to do? Then that minister said, yes, my lord. Making your mind and saying that I'm going to give this, I'm going to offer this, is more difficult than swallowing a sword. Then king was, oh, really? Then he thought, I have made such minds, I have said that I would give certain things, so I have done something very difficult. Then he asked, is there anything more difficult than this? Like saying that I am going to give this and giving a word? Then the next minister said, okay, anyone can say that you are going to give. It's not easy to say even, but someone could say, but it's more difficult to give, complete in the promise. Then king thought, oh, I have done the both. I have said that I would give and I have given. Then he asked, is there anything more difficult? Then the Bodhisattva was there. His name was Senaka. He said, yes, my lord. One can say the word, say that he is going to give, and one could give, but it's more difficult to be happy about the donation after you have given. Then the king thought, oh, I have done one of the most difficult two things in the world, so why should I regret about my dana? I have done such a great deed. And he started to rejoice on his merit. So his sickness and everything was cured. So likewise, since we have Sakkaya Ditthi, and since we have the capacity or inclination to possess, it's not easy to give dana. Sometimes you may feel, no, it's not a big issue for me, I have been giving and giving. But when you compare the dana, like sometimes you may be able to give certain amount, but think about giving, like Bodhisattva's character, giving a limb, cutting a hand and giving to someone for eating or something, giving some blood, giving an eye, removing an eye. These are terribly difficult type of danas. So therefore, even though seems like dana is a simple thing, when you analyze this, you are going against the Sakkaya Ditthi and the desire to possess. That's why it becomes a PāRAMī when we do it with the intention of attaining Nibbana. So then we move on to another type of a dana. I shall explain in the coming lectures how to fulfill, what is the procedure of fulfilling dana. Today we are going to talk about the dana. What is dana? There are another two aspects of dana PāRAMī when we say. What we so far discussed was āmisa dana, giving something to someone, giving up things that belongs to you to someone. Then we have another two type of dana called abhaya dana. Abhaya dana, one is abhaya dana, that is freeing the beings from danger. Helping them to avoid danger. Giving advices to be free from danger, or working or putting effort to avoid the dangers that would come to others. This is called abhaya dana. For example, if we release certain beings who are going to be killed, if we release certain beings who are being trapped and one day would die, a doctor giving medicine and curing a person who is going to from a sickness, these all are called abhaya dana. Even if you save a creature who has fallen into water, think that in the toilet you see a certain ant, an ant is drowning in the water. With a tissue, if you help it to come out and save its life, this is a abhaya dana. This is the abhaya dana. That is the next aspect of dana. So abhaya dana is also very high good quality. It is done mostly out of compassion. Āmisa dana, yes, there is compassion in āmisa dana. That's why we give something that we possess to someone. In some occasions, we do it out of respect. When we offer something to the Buddha, for example, if Buddha was alive, or a very big sayadaw, for example, we obviously know that Bhante has many things that he could sustain by himself. Buddha has all the requisites. We don't get the compassion, we get that I'll be able to get a lot of merit by doing this. We have the wisdom, understanding, the belief. But when you are giving to a beggar or poor person, we have compassion. To an animal, we have compassion. But abhaya dana is mainly done out of compassion. That is, saving the beings or helping them to avoid the danger or preventing the danger that would befall them one day. So all this is called abhaya dana. We give abhaya dana only when we are concerned about others. Why it is so important? Our nature is to look upon ourselves. We are more interested in our interest. But when you are giving abhaya dana to someone, it means we are sacrificing our time, our effort, energy for the sake of others. It's very important. So it's a sort of a dana. We are sacrificing our time, we are sacrificing our effort, so they would live happily afterwards. If you save an ant, it's not even going to say you thank you, right? You just go and start living. And what does it mean? For example, think that you are watching a certain good sports game, a match, and you had to go to the toilet, for example. Okay, that's obviously, it happens. So while you are in toilet, you see a certain ant is drowning, and you take a tissue and spend a few seconds and save it and save the bean. But if you are more interested in our match, you would say even wasting 1 second that I would miss the goal or something. So if in such cases we can see abhayadana, when we are giving abhayadana, we show the concern towards others. That's very important. So therefore, this is another aspect that we need to develop in PāRAMī. Not only giving requisites, but also helping others, saving others, which is called abhayadana. If you're helping someone with this knowledge, this is called dhammadana, helping others' education or teaching others. The utmost dhammadana is preaching dhamma. Even dhammadana, in preaching dhamma, there are 2 levels. If you teach what is good and bad, kusala, akusala, what is sila, what is samadhi, what is panya, what types of kusala should we do in order to get happy lives and so forth, how to support the parents, how to support the society, how to accumulate great merit in dana, and all these. This is one category of dhamma. The utmost superior dhammadana is teaching about the suffering, cause of suffering, liberation from suffering, and the path to the liberation of suffering. Explaining what should be understood pariññaya, what should be abandoned pahatabba, what should be attained satchikatabba, what should be developed bhavetabba. Explaining such deep reality, vipassana, magga, that helps to attain magga pala. This is the utmost dhammadana. Another dhammadana that is related to that is encouraging others with dhamma talks for the attainment of liberation. For example, helping others how to fulfill PāRAMī in order to become a arahant, in order to become a pacceka buddha, samma sambuddha. Especially if we encourage people to become pacceka buddhas in future, to become samma sambuddhas in future, showing the greatness of these attainments, showing the path. These are also called dhammadana. They are also close to the utmost dhammadana, because only with these PāRAMī, fulfilling PāRAMī, you can reach that level. So therefore, another type of dana is dhamma. This is also normally done with compassion, because one could have just stayed and do his own work with all this knowledge. Why do someone express dhamma? Why do someone teach dhamma? With the compassionate mind that may others also know what I know, and may they also attain the happiness that I am in. That's the mindset of a dhamma preacher. Sometimes people may preach dhamma to be popular. It's possible. It's not a very high dana. Sometimes some may teach dhamma to argue or to beat others, which is not a good way of teaching dhamma. Sometimes someone can teach dhamma as a benefit for oneself, because when you teach dhamma, you learn dhamma better than the listener. Anyone who has taught any subject would know this. The one who learned best while teaching is the teacher, because he has to construct the teachings well in the mind, and it remains for a longer period. And there are instances where dhamma preachers also got attained while preaching. So dhammadana is the third type of dana, helping others with the knowledge especially to attain Nibbana. And this is also done with compassion, and it also needs a lot of wisdom. And this type of dana is also necessary when we fulfill the parami. So I'll conclude my Dhamma talk. So today I discussed what is dana parami. I didn't talk about how to fulfill the dana parami. There are many things to be discussed on this. I shall talk them in the future lectures. So it would be nice if someone is following these lectures every month, that you do put some notes on this, because otherwise you have just listened to the Dhamma talks, and if something doesn't retain in your mind, if you're not applying this to the practice, it's a pity thing. So therefore what we discussed today was, we defined what is dana. Dana is the act of giving. In terms of Abhidhamma, is the chetana of giving. Sometimes the dana, the word can refer to the things that are given. And normally, and we may have two types of intentions. Anuggaha vasena, puja vasena. When we give the dana to someone who is equal or inferior, that is called anuggaha buddhya, anuggaha vasena. If we give it to someone who is more respectable, that is puja vasena. Then we also talked, in order to be a complete dana, one has to give with the understanding of karma and vipaka. Sampajana kata. Then what is sampajana kata? It is equal to believing karma and vipaka, and I took a long portion, some time to explain how the saddha and panya is running together in this activity. And in simple terms, doing dana with understanding is doing it with belief. Then we move on to say, dana is opposite to two main kilesas, sakkaya ditthi and the desire to possess. And it is very important that we develop this dana against these two qualities in order to attain Nibbana. And to be a parami, we also have to have a wish, that may have a desire or inclination that may this dana helps me to attain this and these states. And finally I said dana is not an easy thing. The story of the king, because of the defilements, is not easy. Then we moved on to explain three types of dana. Amisa dana, of giving certain things, the things we possess. Abhaya dana, giving safety or protecting others, releasing others from dangers. Dhamma dana, teaching certain, giving knowledge or dhamma. So this is the range of the dana parami. So next day we are going to talk, how should one fulfill dana parami? What are the obstacles of fulfilling dana parami? How should we overcome them? How should we think about it? And how should we reflect on dana parami? And how should we do dana parami that it would be very effective for our practice, meditation, sila, and finally for the attainment. Yes, so that would be my Dhamma talk. Hope you got some insights with this.
There's one question from Anonymous. Wandami Bande. It sounded as if sada exists if there is panya. Is it correct to understand is this way, Bande? Please advise. This is true that sada exists whenever there is panya. Why couldn't we just doing kusala in example, dana, with wisdom instead of faith? Since there's definitely faith when there's wisdom. Please help explain Bande Anumodami.
Yeah, thank you for your question. Now, yes, obviously if there is panya, there has to be saddha, according to Abhidhamma. But there can be saddha without panya. There can be saddha without panya, but there cannot be panya without saddha. Right? This is how the Theravada Abhidhamma is found. Now the problem is saddha and panya. Saddha is believing of the deep phenomena. Panya is understanding. These are the two. So what happens is, when we are doing a wholesome deed, there is a term called sampajana kata, doing with understanding. Sampajana is understanding. Understanding about what? Karma and vipaka. Then the commentators have said, sampajana means believing in Sampajana Kata means believing karma and vipaka. So, saying that someone is doing a kusala with wisdom is equal to doing the kusala with belief of karma and vipaka. That's how these two are connected. So, if someone says one does karma with understanding or one does karma with saddha, doesn't matter. Both are the same in that regard. Both are the same. The reason why these two have been explained together in our Theravada tradition, now what is believing on what? It's believing the deep phenomena of karma vipaka. So in order for the saddha to believe such a deep phenomenon, it has to have the support of panya. If there is no panya, if the mind is not associated with panya, it would not, if it is not associated with panya, it would not be able to accept such deep phenomena. So that's why both have been explained. So even if you say one gives dana with saddha or one gives dana with sampajana, both are same in the end. But we have to keep in mind, there is a dana, there is a dana that one gives without believing in karma and vipaka. Such dana is said asampajana kata dana. Dana done without understanding. What does it mean? He doesn't believe in karma vipaka. That equals to not understanding karma vipaka. Sampajana kata means he understands the karma vipaka. It means believing in karma vipaka. So why is that? Why is that is so mentioned? There can be a saddha, which is the basic level of saddha, which purifies the mind. Which basic level of saddha which purifies the mind, but that saddha without panya is not capable of believing deep phenomena. That's the point here. So a non-Buddhist can have saddha according to Abhidhamma, because saddha is found in every kusala chitta. If you have studied Abhidhamma, you will know saddha is found in every kusala. It's 19 universal wholesome mentalities, beautiful mentalities. So this faith without panya is unable to accept that deep phenomena, because reason is such phenomena is so deep that saddha cannot accept it without the understanding. That's why these two categories have been explained. So even you say, because there is one sutra, Buddha says saddhaya danan deti, one gives dana with faith. In some places we say sampajana kata danang. You give dana with understanding. But in the end, both are same. So even if you say, I give dana with faith, it means you give dana with understanding. If you say you give dana with understanding, that means you give dana with faith. This is mainly about the ordinary person. It's mainly about the ordinary person. But if you are talking about someone who has seen the karma and vipaka, who has completely fully understood the karma and vipaka, his understanding is more deeper than the belief. Right? So that's a different case. We don't need to talk about it, because we are talking about ordinary beings. Right? We are talking about ordinary lay people mostly, who are giving dana out of faith. Right? So that's what I would like to give to that question. Answer as a question, because it was not it didn't ask anything. It asked specifically. It asked, is it okay to say so and so? So that would be my answer in an overall sense.
When reading some of the stories during Buddha's time, there were things that we couldn't relate, since we couldn't witness them these days. How should we approach this so we can develop sadha and also a vipassiko bande? Modami.
Oh, it's not an easy question to answer. So, there are certain stories that cannot be related today. Even myself cannot relate all the stories, right? Because some are very extraordinary stories are there. But that is one thing personally I would approach, because it will be very personal, because I cannot generalize a statement and say this is how you should understand these and these stories. And that statement can be highly debated. So my personal approach, one of my personal approaches is, we haven't witnessed all the phenomena in the world, and we know our limitedness of our knowledge. So always we have to keep something. Even in science, people would not reject things. The real scientists would not reject certain things. They would reject things like, for example, if someone said the earth is flat, yes, they would surely reject that, because they have evidences for that. But if someone says about rebirth, scientists would say that we don't have evidence to prove rebirth, but they would say possible, it can happen. You cannot deny that. So likewise, personally, what I keep in mind is always there can be some space for belief, accepting certain things that are beyond our imagination, beyond our capacity. Even levitating, for example, that's something very, very strange. But when you progress in Dhamma, you feel the capacity of the mind, the power of the mind. Yes, mind may cause some changes in the physical body, and those things would be possible. And also reading others' mind, reading the past life. And sometimes you may be asking questions like certain things like, how could a flower grow from the earth suddenly? Or how could this much of people sat in such and such a place? Yeah, certain things are there. For example, if you count the numbers that are mentioned in our books, it seems like how could such people exist in such an era? So normally, personally, what I do is I go to the gist of the story, and the numbers, the distances. Personally, I feel over the time such things could change in the literature, but the gist of the story, like certain miracles happening, a deva coming and showing up, or helping a certain person, being, for example, when the gem is put onto the water, the water becoming clearer. We cannot deny that there cannot be such a material, right? So likewise, personally, what I keep it in mind is, keep some space in ourselves that there can be certain phenomena which we haven't even thought about, and which are beyond our capacity, and which we haven't witnessed. Maybe we will not witness in our entire life. And then when it comes to the numbers and so forth, I normally go with that. It would have been a practical number. And over the time, the numbers, especially in the commentaries, could have changed. That's my personal. Could have changed. It's just my personal way of accepting, thinking on such things. The number of people who existed and these of stuff. Other than that, yes, but still I don't think it would be a complete answer. You would still have the questions about animals talking and animals flying and certain things. So that's why I said certain phenomena even I myself is unable to relate. But then you ask the question that ehipassiko. Ehipassiko is mainly regarding Maggaphala and Nibbana. Come and see. Why Dhamma is ehipassiko? Come and see. Why could we say something to come and see? Because of two reasons. If, for example, in my room there's no such a thing called gem. There's no diamond in my room. If I say you, come and see, I have a diamond, I put a poster. When people are coming, I have to say, oh, please wait. Because if they come in, they will see that I have a diamond. I don't have a diamond. So I cannot say, come and see my diamond. Cannot, because I don't have one. Because it doesn't exist. Even something exists if it is impure. We go to the toilet, we don't say, come and see what I have done. No, we don't say that, right? It does exist, it is truly there, but it's not something that you can show to someone. So since Dhamma, the noble Dhamma is pure, two things, existing and pure, we can say anyone, please come and observe this. So when you are talking about the Vipassana path, it's crystal clear. You'll be able to see the Nama and Rupa as two different elements. You'll be able to see the cause and causality in Paticcasamuppada. You'll be able to understand the conditioned nature of the reality. You'll be able to understand there was a rebirth and there will be a rebirth as long as the causes exist. You'll be able to see the impermanent suffering and non-self characteristics. And though I have not attained, I assume it's very clear, if you progress in this path, it's clear that the defilements will go down and one day would be eradicated, and there has to be a state which is free from these defilements, which is not conditioned, which is called Nibbana. So it is possible, even as a Putujana person, I would still say come and see, because to my own experiences, limited, but I would still find it's something that is existing or that should be existing. So, take the two things. The stories, yes, certain stories are there which are beyond our capacity. I always keep some space that's certain.
Excuse me, Bande?
Yeah.
I think we lost your connection.
Yes. There's a loose connection.
Could you repeat again?
Yeah, there's a loose connection in the wire. I didn't talk actually, stopped. So, regarding the stories, yes, there are certain things that we can relate today. Always keep some space. Some phenomena beyond my capacity could have happened, but that is not to say that everything which is written has had happened. It's claiming that would be something controversial in the today's society. So what I do is I just keep some space that certain things may happen which are beyond my capacity. But when you go to the core of the teachings, what do I say core of the teaching? Vipassana, Maggapala, practice. These things is very logical and we are not afraid to express them. So Ehipassiko is mainly about these things, Maggapala and Nibbana and the practice. So yeah, that's what I would say. So justifying a story is not the way to Ehipassiko. Ehipassika nature is to understand the core essence of Dhamma.
Namo Buddhaya, Bande. What is Anuloma? And does acquiring Anuloma guarantee being reborn in the realm of heavenly beings? Thank you, Bande.
Anuloma, the famous word of Anuloma is found in among the Vipassana jnanas. If you have Anuloma, you are not guaranteed to be born as a divine being, but you will be guaranteed to be a Sotapanna. So if you attain Anuloma jnana, no one can stop you from attaining Sotapannahood, because it appears in the mind process, the Chitta Viti, in which the Magga Chitta is happening. So after the Bhavanga, while someone is practicing, he reached the Sankarupekka jnana, and then there are two stages of Sankarupekka, the normal Sankarupekka and the Sikhapatta Sankarupekka. Sikhapatta Sankarupekka means the highest Sankarupekka. This Sikhapatta Sankarupekka is called Vuttana Gamini Vipassana. If someone attains this Sankarupekka level, one VT goes, and then next VT will be the Maggawithari. In the Maggawithari, after the Bhavanga, Manodvara Vajjana arises, then three chittas, Parikamma, Upachara, Anuloma, or Upachara and Anuloma, 2 or 3 chittas, depending on the person's wisdom, happens. Contemplating Sankharas either as Anicca or Dukkha or Anatta. Wisdom of these 3 chittas, Parikamma, Upachara, Anuloma, you can call them Parikamma, you can call them Upachara, you can call them Anuloma, doesn't matter. Wisdom of these 3 chittas is called Anuloma jnana. After that appears the Gotra Bhu jnana, it takes Nibbana as the object, and then the Magga jnana, which takes the Nibbana as the object and eradicating the defilements. So if you attain Anuloma Jnana, if you put a rock in the sky, it will surely fall down. So likewise, if you attain Anuloma Jnana, you are sure bound to be a Sotapanna. No return. Right? You cannot be a Putujjana again. Right? So that's why sometimes I make a joke, if you want to, you have to think twice before you become a Sotapanna, because you cannot be a Putujjana again. Right? So it's just a joke. So this Anuloma Jnana, if you attain Anuloma Jnana, surely you are going to be a Sotapanna, and then you will be free from 4 realms, 4 apaya. So that's the Anuloma Jnana that we know. There is another Anuloma in Jhanas that is also just in the Jhana Chitta. One Chitta is called Anuloma. That doesn't, it's not much discussed in our literature. I think the person who you are referring to the Anuloma Jnana in Vipassana. Before the Anuloma Jnana, there happened the Sikapatta Sankarupekha. Normally, if someone attains this Sankarupekha, Anuloma Jnana is a must, except for very special beings. In literature, the example is given of a Mahabodhisattva who is going to be a Buddha, because he cannot be a Sotapanna, right, in Sansara. So a Mahabodhisattva with very great wisdom surely can reach Sankarupekha and also reach the peak of the Sankarupekha, while other beings, if reach the peak of Sankarupekha, would end up in Anuloma, would move to Anuloma and surely end up in the Magga. Mahabodhisattvas who are going to be Buddhas, reaching the top of the Sankarupekha, would still stop there. They would not go to the Anuloma. Therefore, in literature, sometimes it's mentioned, Anulomang ahaccha tittati. They touch the Anuloma. It's like touching the Anuloma, but not moving into Anuloma. So, Bodhisattvas may stop at the topmost Sankarupekha. Even the other Bodhisattvas who are destined, Savaka Bodhisattvas, may also stop, maybe, but it's mentioned about the Sammasam Bodhisattva, Mahabodhisattva. So that's what is mentioned, Anuloma Jnana. If you attain it, it's not about destination of Sugati, it's about surely becoming a noble being.
Just want to ask, that's very interesting about stopping at the highest level of Sankarupekha. Is that one comment? What commentaries can I refer to?
This is, if you type Anulomang ahaccha tittati, Anulomang ahaccha tittati, it's the word, if you type Anulomang ahaccha tittati, you can find this in some commentaries. If you can type it, ahaccha tittati. Right?
I don't know how to. Can you?
Okay, I'll send you to WhatsApp. I'll send you to WhatsApp. Yeah, I'll send you. You have my number.
Very interesting.
Okay. And Lady Sayadaw explains this, what the commentary says.
Okay. That's very interesting. Thank you, Gandhi.
We'll do it the last question, because there's a Dhamma talk in another 15 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The last question. Wandami Bate from Sister Patricia. Sometimes we give priority to Puja Dana compared to Anugraha Dana, because giving to beings who have lower morality will result less kusala, while giving to those who have higher morality with the aim of producing higher kusala. Do we, in this case, giving with lobha and lack of panya?
I shall explain this in my lectures to come about these two. But actually, it's a brief answer if I give you. Give more to a person with high morality is a much greater kusala than you are giving to someone who is lower, ordinary person. But there are two types of dana. Vichaya dana, you select the moral person and give dana. Then another type of dana, you give, may anyone take, whoever is in need, you give, regardless of choosing the person who is in need, who is virtuous. Mahabodhisattva has to practice both. In the first, there is some sort of self-interest, right? But in the second, you are giving just out of compassion. In terms of merit, giving to the higher person is much greater than giving to a normal, anyone who is in need. If you have set your mind to give to anyone who is in need, regardless of that person, your giving up quality is much greater. So we'll talk about these two aspects in the future lectures, right? So these are the two differences. Both are appreciated. Now, just to give you one hint, now think about Bodhisattva giving eyes, flesh. Would any virtuous person accept such thing? No. You cannot give flesh to a monk, right? So if you are giving flesh, if you are practicing to be a Mahabodhisattva, you have to give your abhyantara, internal organs, normally to demons, to animals, to people who are in use of those things. So therefore, both danas has to be practiced. I'll explain them in detail.
Sadhu. Thank you for your Dharma danas, Bhante. May this parami can help you to attain Magga, Phala, Nibbana in this life. Okasa Vandami Bhante.
Sukhi hotu, Nibbana Paccaya hotu.
Maya katam punyam samina anumoditabam.
Sadhu, sadhu, anumodami.
Samina katam punyam mayham databam.
Anumoditabang.
Sadhu, sadhu, anumodami. Okasa dwaratayena katam sabbam acayam Kamathame Bhante.
Kamami kamitabang.
Sadhu okasa kamami Bhante.
So may this merit help us to attain Nibbana and also help to our all deceased relatives and the devas. Idamme punyang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Idamme punyang Nibbanassa paccayo hotu. Ittavata cayam hehi sambhatang punya sampadang. Sabbe deva anumodantu, sabbe bhuta anumodantu, sabbe satta anumodantu, sabba sampatti siddhya. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Idang vo nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo. Mama punya bhagang sabba sattanang bhajemi. Te sabbe me samang punya bhagang labantu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Buddha sasanang chirantitthatu. Buddha sasanang chirantitthatu. Buddha sasanang chirantitthatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.